Fixing mobility in Indian cities. Part 1. The problem and the solution. Indians argue a lot about everything. But there's one thing we all agree about. We are all stuck in traffic. And because of that, our economy is stuck too. The solution, we think, is to widen roads and build flyovers and tunnels. Just look at any city or state's budget. Most of the money is allocated for building more roads and flyovers. Alas, the result is not what is expected. This is what we have. All those wide roads are still choked with traffic. Because we forget a key principle of urban mobility. You cannot cure obesity with bigger pants, and you cannot cure traffic jams with bigger roads. So what is the solution? The solution has been in front of us all along, but we've been missing the bus. Literally. But why buses? Because buses have 5 superpowers. Let's go through them one by one. Superpower number 1. Buses are incredibly efficient. Imagine a typical Indian road flooded with cars and more cars parked on the road edge. Now imagine if there were no cars and only people. And all those people come together to travel in a bus. See how efficient buses are? 10 times more efficient than cars. Yet, buses often wrongly get blamed for traffic jams. In fact, buses with priority measures like exclusive lanes are the only way we can give all Indians reliable mobility. Superpower number 2. Quick access. Because of their flexibility, buses can come close to your home and office. So it's a short walk to the bus stop. Now let's look at a metro. Stations are farther apart, meaning a longer walk. One has to also go underground or overground, needing additional time, and also wait for security and fare gates, which means it takes even longer to actually get to the metro coach. So, especially for short trips, buses are the answer. Superpower number 3, direct services. Buses can provide direct services. Let's say that this is your home and this is your office. If you take a bus in a good system, there are direct services making it convenient for you to go from home to office or wherever you want. Compare that to the metro. You often have to take a feeder service to the metro, transfer, and then take another feeder service after the metro ride to your final destination. It's a more circuitous trip. Now, metros are great when trip is long, typically over 15 kilometers. But if the trip is short, like it is in most Indian cities, buses are more convenient. Superpower number 4, and this gets really interesting, because buses can actually reach everywhere. Now, if you want people to take public transport, there has to be public transport where you are to take you where you want to go. Which means that if you don't have public transport reaching everywhere, you cannot expect people to use public transportation. Let me show you with a case, the case of Chennai. Now the map that you see on the left is Chennai metropolitan region with population densities around, where deep red means higher density and lighter colors means lower density. Now Chennai built a fantastic metro on some of the best corridors in the city, 45 kilometers of it at a cost of 24,000 crores, a lot of money. What you see in violet is the walking shed of metro, and what it tells us is that only 9% of people have easy walk access to the metro. Now, is it surprising that only 2.7 lakh passengers daily take the metro in a city of over 1 crore people, more than 10 million people? Now let's look at what buses do in Chennai. Chennai's MTC bus service has 3,500 buses, and look at that pet shed. Like, it's fantastic. 53% of people get frequent services within walking distance. So it's unsurprising that ridership on buses is 12 times more than metro, 31 lakh passengers daily. Previously, it used to be even more. If the number of buses in Chennai was doubled from 3,500 to 7,000, 100%, pretty much 100% of people in Chennai can get access to frequent buses, which means then we can get a city where public transportation is available to everyone and might even become the choice of everyone, provided it's also comfortable and fast. That's why best cities in the world, thriving global cities like London and Singapore, have massive bus services to complement their extensive rail network. Look at London, like a city with a population of about 9 million people. Despite having 400 kilometers of metro, it also has nearly 9,000 buses. That's 100 buses per lakh inhabitants. Same with Singapore. It also has 100 buses per lakh inhabitants, despite having 230 kilometers of metro for a city of just 5.5 million people. So, buses and only a bus service can connect every corner of a city. And the final superpower of buses is quick rollout. Really, it's possible to create magic in under 3 years. Look at the case of Shenzhen, which rolled out in less than 3 years 16,000 electric buses connecting the entire city with green mobility. Or Bogota, which created 40 kilometers of BRT in under 3 years, increasing bus speeds from 12 kilometers to 26 kilometers. So this is the beauty of buses. But I'm not talking about buses versus metro. It's not a boxing bout between the two. Far from it. In fact, I'm talking about a cooperation between buses and metro. A collaboration or cooperation where people get seamless public transportation across the entire city. The fight really is between public transport and unending traffic jams. Part 2. Building a bus service that everyone loves. What would a great bus service look like to you? I would say that there are buses everywhere to take you anywhere you want, on time, at any time, in comfort, and at pocket-friendly fares. Isn't that fantastic? How do we make this happen? And that's where the 555 service comes into picture. What is a 555 service? The first 5 is buses near everywhere, which means that there is a bus stop within 5 minutes of wherever you are in the city to go anywhere in the city. 2, buses are frequent and fast, which means that you get a bus within 5 minutes of reaching a bus stop, but also that the bus reaches the destination with a delay of no more than 5 minutes, with bus priority. Last but not the least, buses must be attractive, yet affordable. We need cool and green buses, but they must be more affordable than using two-wheelers. Urban rail in India has made the leap from what used to be like this to new metro rail services everywhere in the country. Isn't it time that buses also make the leap from these ramshackle, crowded buses to something fantastic like this? For that to happen, we need 40 to 80 high-quality buses per lakh inhabitants in every city. Larger cities need more buses per capita, smaller cities less. So if there is a city which has 1 crore inhabitants, like say Chennai, it needs something like 8,000 buses. For a smaller city which has 10 lakh inhabitants, it needs something like 400 buses. So that's what the calculation is. And these buses need to be high quality. They need to be air conditioned. Think 100% air conditioned, especially in a country like ours which has harsh weather. Think also easy boarding, where buses are designed to easily get into and out of, especially for young and the old. And last but not the least, a green fleet, a clean fleet, which is not only economical. We found that from the recent bidding that we've seen, where the life cycle cost of electric buses is much cheaper than fossil fuel buses. But they also provide a smooth ride to passengers. The buses need to be a diverse fleet to serve diverse needs. So not only do we need standard buses, the 12-meter buses that we have in our cities, but we also need articulated buses, long bendy buses which can carry even more passengers, or double-decker buses maybe, like London and Singapore. All of these are great for high demand on large corridors. But we also need mini buses and midi buses, as well as maybe micro buses, which are great for lower demand on narrower streets where large buses cannot enter. So we need a diverse fleet. We also need to make sure that this diverse fleet is spread over a network that reaches everywhere in the city, so that everyone gets to a bus within a 5-minute walk, a 300-meter walk. So we need a bus route density of 4 kilometers for every square kilometer of built-up area. And within this network of 4 kilometers, we need 16 bus stops. Unless we have that, we cannot get bus to every corner of the city. These buses also need priority. So whenever bus speeds are less than 18 kilometers per hour, we need to create one of them. Either dedicated lanes that allow buses to cut through traffic and congestion to reach on time, the 5-minute rule of not a delay of more than 5 minutes. Zero emission zones that permit entry only to buses and motor-free vehicles. And possibly congestion pricing, like in Singapore or London or Stockholm, that discourages private motor vehicles and also earns revenue that could be feeded back into better bus services. We also need modern stops and terminals. And what kind of stops and terminals? Clean, bright, airy and comfortable. Barrier-free, so that even somebody in a wheelchair can get to the bus without any assistance. And protected from harsh weather in a country like ours. So for this, we need, like we already said, 16 bus stops for every square kilometer of built-up area, but also terminals where if they need to interchange or buses need to stop, a terminal for every 200 buses. So if a city has 1,000 buses, like a city needs 1,000 buses, we need probably about 5 terminals. If a city needs 10,000 buses, large cities like Delhi or Mumbai, we need to have 10,000 divided by 200. So essentially 50 terminals. To make sure that buses are in top shape, we also need smart depots for their maintenance. So for every 100 buses, we need a depot, which would be about 5 acres of land. So land is a premium. So we need to ensure that cities allocate that much space for bus depots. Also have power connections to ensure that fast charging can happen for electric buses, and maintenance infrastructure to ensure that buses are in top shape and they also can be parked safely at night. And last but not the least, while this is not about buses, it's about cool walking paths to reach buses. Wide, continuous, shaded and well lit, barrier free and free of encroachments like parked vehicles. We need 4 kilometers of paths at the very least for every square kilometer of built up area. That brings us to part 3, making this dream a reality. So how about the Bharat Urban Megabus Mission, a mission to transform the Indian economy, a mission which provides top quality mobility for all in all the million-plus cities of India, 71 of them, 9 big cities and 62 fast-growing cities. What are the highlights of such a program? We would have 100,000 buses. All of them are air-conditioned, low-floor and electric. And 2,600 kilometers of bus priority. With 1,000 state-of-the-art bus depots, 170,000 modern stops, 500 terminals, and last but not the least, 40,000 kilometers of footpaths to reach that cool transit. With this, also a robust evaluation system if these bus services are meeting the goals or not. Proximity, the percentage of citizens with a bus stop within 5 minutes. Frequency, percentage of bus trips with an under 5-minute wait during peak hours. Speed, the percentage of the network of buses where speeds are over 18 kilometers per hour. The goal is 100% of the network should be above 18 kilometers per hour through one of the priority measures. And last but not the least, public satisfaction, the percentage of users who are satisfied with the service quality. Such a big mission will cost money. How much? 100,000 crores of VGF for 100,000 buses. And this VGF would be a tapering VGF for bus operations. In the first year, the full VGF would be given by the central government, but it will taper down to zero by the 6th year. And the goal is that the cities become Atmanirbhar. They find their own means of raising the money through alternate sources like parking, congestion pricing, etc. to fill the gap between fare box revenue and the cost of operations of a high quality service. A capital investment of 160,000 crores, of which the mission would support 100,000 crores and the states and cities would be expected to put in 60,000 crores. Larger cities would be expected to put more of their own money and get less from the mission. And smaller cities would get a lot more from the mission because they are at a lower level right now and they need the support to ensure that they get the infrastructure that they need. A key goal of the mission is to make cities Atmanirbhar in operating high quality bus services without external financial aid. And what better way than through parking and road pricing? When cities start charging for parking on streets, it not only streamlines parking, clearing way for buses to ply, it also encourages the use of buses by making private motor vehicles more expensive to use. Now, it's important that this parking pricing be demand and duration based, which means the higher the demand, the more the price, and the longer the duration of parking, the more the fee someone pays. The revenue potential is enormous. It's perennial revenue. Calculations show that charging only 30% of private vehicles is enough to cover the full VGF of bus operations in any city. So let's make Bharat Urban Megabus Mission a success, a mission that would transform the Indian economy.